Yeah, so good to see all of you back, and new faces, old faces. Just sharing about just this. Whatever's happening, it's just this. It's such a beautiful message because it's beyond simple. Simple doesn't even, because already everything is this. And so that just doesn't leave anything out. So that includes getting angry, is this, getting frustrated, this, clarity. Oh my God, I'm so clear tonight. Just this. So that's the no escape part. Everything is it already. So even trying to escape is already it. I don't know, Sander, you have anything?
Well, just this, um, sitting and watching all these beautiful people on the screen, saying hi to each other. That's just beautiful. What to say? It's just this already. And yeah, as you said, even saying it's just this is just this. Basically, it doesn't say so much more than that it's just words. Um,
Yeah, we were talking about that today, how words don't change anything.
no, no, exactly. It doesn't matter if you call this everything or nothing. It doesn't change anything. Just simply this already. And calling this or calling this life or energy or whatever doesn't change this already. There's always just whatever seems to be happening. And even saying it's apparently happening or it's really happening doesn't change. It's just more words. I mean, and there's nothing wrong or right with it. It's just simply what seems to be happening again. Giving this names is this already. Yeah, there can be a resonating with words. That's it too.
Yeah, and if some words you don't like or some words piss you off, it's just this. If you are attracted to certain words, that's a cool word. Spaciousness, energy.
Yes,
just,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's already.
And this can just change, but nothing actually, you know, so this so-called attraction may just suddenly change, but nothing really happens because it's still this, you know. Nothing substantially changes.
Well, stories seem to endlessly change. Endless stories, seemingly without a beginning or an ending. They just
Yeah,
sort of pick up mid-story, but we somehow they're believed.
yeah, that's the beauty. You know, believing stories is it too. And in a way, believing is just another story. I mean, what is believing? So whatever seems to be happening doesn't care if it's real or unreal, if it's whole or if it's complete, or if there's a you or if there's no you. Sitting in front of a screen and talking has no needs.
Getting hit in the face by the cat's tail has no needs.
Who is getting hit?
Hitting itself. So this is an open meeting. Everyone's invited to participate. If you have a comment or question, please feel free to unmute and jump in.
I'll be a little bit of the devil's advocate. Um, Sometimes I feel, and just wanting to say, sometimes it seems like I hear too much, this is all this, and everything is this, and it seems like the same dialogue keeps going around and around. And uh, I just noticed that it feels like sometimes even too much for me. So I just thought I'd announce that. And I sometimes feel maybe there's something wrong with me because it feels like so redundant all the time. And I watch some of the videos that are posted, and they say the same thing too. uh, anyway, that's my little contribution for right now. Any comments?
I can relate. And you know, I was wondering if I was gonna attend tonight or not. And I appreciate the fact I feel calm and relaxed, and I appreciate to be here. And when I start thinking or engaging in a more rational way. I feel like you described it well. I can't really describe it any better. All is this covers a whole lot. It covers everything. And so, in the end, the question comes, why talk? I was just responding to a post by Michael Markham, and I realized, it's like it's fun to engage and to exchange with others, and so it's fun.
Yes, and that's just an innocent report. What seems to be happening there then? That it's fun. Well, that's it. And this may change. Thinking watching Netflix movies is more fun may just simply happen.
So what you're saying is that it could be more fun watching Netflix than being here.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Of course. I mean,
It doesn't matter because you're not going to get anything from here anyway. So if you might as well go watch Netflix.
yes.
Yeah, there's still a remnant that if I come to this or if I listen to another video or come on Sunday nights, that I will still get something. Like there still is that idea. And you pointed it out very well, Sanders, that it's no different than watching a Netflix or talking to a friend or going to work.
No, and this idea that there's maybe something which can be get out of this is just as beautiful as everything else which seems to be arising or not.
Mhm.
And yeah.
That certainly equalizes it.
Yeah, it seems to it seems to do that. Yeah.
What's matter?
Come again, Adi,
What's matter?
what's matter?
Mhm.
You mean like physical matter or?
Mhm, mhm.
I have no clue. Maybe you have an there are many ideas what matter is. So matter is just matter.
Of course, there is definitions or names, or there is like a scientific definition of what matter is, and one could say that's just a name, or it's a concept. It's a concept that matter is a thing, that it exists as a thing, and maybe around here in these neighborhoods there would be more of a perception that it is not a thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked a mouse what matter is, I don't think the mouse would know what you're talking about. So that's the thing about concepts. They require a knower. Well, what's being shared here is you could say total unknowing, not even anyone that knows that they don't know.
I also
Is-
like to say, if you could find the answer to what matter is, what would that do for you?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And describing matter with just more words and more concept doesn't lead to anything else. It's still just matter.
maybe the illusion is that knowing what these things are would make life better, or we would be happier, or it would end the search, and there's a lot of promises propagated, yeah, that knowing is good, or knowing is what it's all about. And I certainly, looking back at my life, I was driven by wanting to know. Early on in my teens, I remember I bought a lot of books because I thought the more books I have, and the more books I read, it was just a good foundation for self-esteem, and having a large library meant a lot.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So we could say matter is a story, which would be true of anything. Anything we say, what is a dog? What is what is anything? What is a thing? The answer is always going to be it's a story. So, and that's the trouble with the knowledge, right? Because if you get more knowledge, you just get knowledge of you get knowledge of a story. And then there's, you can notice that there's something that wants more than a story. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the funny thing with that is it's just another story in a
Right.
way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So saying that it's a story is already just another story.
Yeah.
All there is the story.
It's true. It's true in one sense, in the highest, when you see it from the highest, as to what is true without any limitations on it. But then we still live in a world and we have to deal with it. Story, although not important for anybody who wants to get here, they still, until there isn't, there is. And
Well-
when there is, the story is. And you have to navigate in the story.
Mhm.
Until there isn't. I understand when there isn't everything that you said.
Well, that's the
I-
promise.
Mm.
You
It's
know?
amazing to realize how Dan kind of hinted at it, how really everything is a story, or a story about a story. It's what language does, and it what the mind does. It works and dabbles in stories, and it's neither good nor bad. It's just what the mind does.
There's a part of me that really, I think, appreciates it if I understand what Addie's saying a little bit. I find, yes, it's just a story. But until it isn't that's what's functioning or playing out. And it feels, again, I kind of go back to, can the play of both be happening, and the recognition of both be happening, that it's empty, but it's full, and there is a life and beings, and there's just this wonder and splendor. And I mean, I make my living out of making things out of matter, right? That have meaning for people, and like all kinds of, engagement ring, like, the whole thing. I mean, and I struggle with it, I'll be honest with you, because it's kind of empty for me, right? Because I just see conceptually different, I see the world a little bit differently. But is there a role for, like I said, when it's not understood or it's not there, it's still being understood in a different way? And I don't know. There's some kind of balance in there that just doesn't feel right, to be heavily on one end or the other. There's something morally or ethically, I just don't feel sound about that. And so the skill, my hope is that when the deeper I move, that I can always understand both sides to that. That it makes me more beneficial, because this is the reality is also just this that people, that it's experienced, not as everything is just being this, but it experienced as being very relative, you know? So, and yeah, I just struggle. I have that feeling, that sense of extreme too. And I think the play and understanding of both simultaneously, and knowing it's empty, but yet being able to see the beauty and the wonder and engage with it is so valid. It's so important. It's the
Well,
wisdom for me in it.
This grows up in a conditioning where it is told it is not this, and it is driven away from this, right? It grows up, or the illusion has been happening for a while, and there are glimpses to see through it, and then there's the final scene where you don't believe in the story anymore. Until then, even then, even though this is, even knowing this is not going to help, and it's going to be the same, whatever is happening. There must be a transactional way of talking about what's happening, because if we cannot negate this in any sentence, because it's always going to be. But at the same time, the story is happening because this hasn't seen there yet. It's a tragedy. For nobody.
Yeah, what it reminds me of is Nkosi. We all know Nkosi. We love the way he speaks. And something he often says is, "You're not a human. There is no human," you know, and that we can see the beauty in that statement is, you know, is wonderful. But, you know, as I think some of us here are kind of playing with, there also is human. This is human.
I heard Nkosi, and every word that Nkosi speaks comes from that truth, where he is seeing that I am not. So I can't say exactly what Nkosi is saying, but I have seen it. I have seen what he's seeing every single moment. So I know what he's talking about.
Yes, and Sander has expressed, you know, very much about, well, you know, this is this too. Whatever's showing up is this. You can't really get out of that circle. Or whatever it is, whatever shape it is. It is this. But there's also the other side, at least for me, I would say, and I'm kind of agreeing with Janet, that there's the human side of that conversation somehow wants to include
Well,
you know,
that kind of acceptance comes when we go into that kind of a silence where words are not needed anymore. We don't even need to say that this is this, and it just is. Then the human can be, right?
Wait, Adi, but you said when we go into this is not this as it is right now, not it already?
No, it's in the background.
It's in the background.
Yeah. Because this has become an intellectual understanding rather than an experiential living of what this is. So,
But there is no experience.
and I have seen through it, like glimpses of it. So combined with that, there seems to be an understanding of this in the background, the silence. But there's an understanding that
So I'm sorry, what's here now then? If it's not here right now, then what is this? This is it. This is fully it. It's never not this. You haven't missed. There's no foreground or background or side ground. It's just this thinking that it's in the background.
And that's it too, you know, thinking it's something else or that it's hidden or that it's silence, which is the highest, is this already? Is this simply what seems to be happening? And there's nothing wrong with it. And there's already no you able to escape thinking that there's something to get or to gain. So thinking there's a process going on which leads you to silence or to a state of freedom, is this already? This is a freedom, so to say, appearing as a you wanting to be free.
how do you define appearance?
Well, appearance is just simply
What's
it's
happening?
well, you can say you know, in a way, appearance is just another word. You know, it doesn't say anything. Actually,
Yeah, if you call this an appearance or you call this a shoe, it doesn't change this.
it doesn't change. It's just another name, and it becomes almost like a new foundation where you can stand on. But there's already no you standing here or somewhere else. So calling this an appearance or calling this a reality is just this already. But you can see appearance as what is apparently happening is that it's happening and not happening at the same time.
It reminds me a little bit of what Michael Markham talks about objectification, that when we name things or make when we're seeing things, we're objectifying that which you guys would say already is this. So objectifying it, well, I guess that's already this too.
Yes. So when somebody's saying there's nothing to get, that message seems to be objectified by saying, well, I want to get that there's nothing to get, which is this already. So it's always heard as it heard, and there's no escape in objectifying or not objectifying. I mean, there's already no one doing anything or doing nothing already. It's just simply what seems to arise. And wanting to get that, these words, is this already? And there's no escape. There's no escaping what already is this. So the need to get this, or the absence of the need to get this, is no difference. and hoping that you get something out of this meeting today or not is the same. And this may change. And trying to make it change, or the absence of that need, is it already? It's just simply this. Sitting and talking. Is this already? And thinking that this will lead to something else, that there is something else than this, it's just this. And
All right.
hoping by attending this meeting that it all will be better, or it will feel lighter. Is this already? And feeling helped, or that it feels lighter, may just simply happen. And making an assumption that it is because of this meeting is this too.
So I have a couple of thoughts. One is, you could say that what is being brought up right now, even though I know this is the message here, but you can say it's a philosophy on a certain level. And you can say, well, my description of that is this too, and that's fine. But to Adi's point, his description of which I actually relate to, is that there's a background or there's something, wholeness that's already there. And then we have a human experience that can maybe disconnect us from what's already there. And so you could say, well, that's this too. But I think it's, what I'm hearing is that you could say everything is this or already this, or it's a story, but I don't think you can escape the fact that it's still a philosophy. In other words, what's being spoken here is a philosophy. Or everything is this already. But it's also a philosophy to say what Adi's saying, which is what I resonate with, is, yeah, but your beingness is, or your wholeness is here, and the human experience, sort of, Janet was talking about this too a little bit, that the human experience, yeah, there's more than going on than just already this, even though you kind of can't lose by saying everything is already this. but I feel like that's still a philosophy.
The problem is the usage of the word appearance, because the way we understand it, and it's not how it's understood in the general context, is how it is implied here. It's whatever is happening is appearing, as I understand, right?
So here, appearance is, all I can say is that this seems to be happening, or this appears to be happening. So there's no way of knowing if this is happening or not. But as far as there's understanding, this seems to be happening. That's all. You know, you can say that it's real or not real. It doesn't change anything. You can say it's a dream, or that it's dreamt, but and even you can say it's an appearance, but it doesn't change anything. It's just all empty words. I mean, you can say this is a philosophy, and, you know, feeling that there's something behind this, or that there is something, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, that's just simply how it plays out then. Thinking that this is a philosophy, or it's just all words or whatever, or that there's something else which is more substantial or more real, which is hidden, is this already. And trying to escape thinking or believing that this is just a philosophy is still just this. What seems to be happening, or what appears to be happening. And there's no way of knowing if this is happening or not happening. Or if this is only happening if there's something more happening or not. So there's not really a foundation to stand on.
Well, and that's really what's happening, Sanders, is that the mind, or we constantly are looking for something to stand on, or a hook where we can hang our hat.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where the stories and the concepts or the philosophies come in. We want to have an explanation, so we want to know. It's always around those themes. And I was just going to say, often, you know, Alan, I totally get what you're saying when you say it's a philosophy. And that's, you know, that's a good example of a story. It's naming it and then say, this is what it is. I mean, that's what the mind wants to do all the time, and explaining it and making sense of it. And that's what a story is, making sense of what appears to be happening.
Yeah, but why couldn't this be wanting to come up with a story that resonates?
Yes.
The word that's
Of
always
course.
Yes.
being. Hold on. Sorry, you just totally interrupted me. I've been listening to you all night.
Sorry, go on.
I don't speak much here, so if I can just, sorry for getting defensive, but
No, it's okay.
yeah, the bottom line is this. There's the word this. How funny is that? We can talk all day long about what this is or isn't, or that it's what seems to be or not seems to be. We can go all day. My version of me feeling completely in tune with wholeness or beingness, to you may be a story, and that's fine. But to me, that's real. That's not a story. Now, you could say it's a story, and that's your philosophy. But I can easily just say, well, my philosophy is not a story, that I'm actually speaking right now from wholeness and not a story. And you could say, well, you're still talking from a story. And I can say, well, that's fine. You can say that. That's your philosophy. My philosophy is that I'm absolutely speaking from wholeness that's already here. That's universal. That's beingness. And you can say, well, those are all good words, or that's more storytelling. We can go on forever. And so I think the issue I have with what's come up tonight, which actually started with Alice and then Janet, is really that it's wonderful to say that this is what's being spoken here. That's wonderful. It's also wonderful to say, but maybe that's not true. I mean, maybe it's true for the message here, and that's fine. But I think what happens is that I feel like we're going in this dance of what appears to be, what doesn't appear to be, or that's not this, or that is this. And that's fine. It's all good dialogue. But it's just as equal valid if someone says that I feel like there's something in the background that I'm an extension of, and I want to identify with that more because that makes me feel better. And we can say, well, that's this too, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because if someone feels like it's a story that's making them feel better, and we want to call that this, that's fine, but that doesn't mean it's this for sure. It could also just be, oh, it's just wholeness expressing itself. That's already there. And that may be a story to somebody else, but that's authentic here. And so anyway, I will now turn it back over.
I just want to say something. I know that what these guys are saying is true, completely true for them. It's just that I don't feel that. And it's when it is felt, it's not personal anymore. It's impersonal. It's for nobody. And when you are somebody, it is so frustrating because we want to get to being, and knowing it's not the way is also something that is understood. It's so hard. That's all I'm trying.
I certainly, I know I probably don't have a whole lot to contribute because I don't have tons of whatever, but I will say that myself, I mean, I don't think there's a right and wrong way to do this or experience this if it's all this anyway. This is that even that's kind of a bit of a haha to me, because if someone feels that dialogue or engagement or whatever, if it's it too, it has to be it, right? I mean, this is the whole message, right? Everything is it. So
Yep.
so to invalidate it though, it feels you know, it's yeah, it's again, it's still validating the fundamental point that everything that arises or appears or what have you, whether it's dialogue, whether it's engagement, whether it's somebody feeling as a person, it's all it. It can't be anything other than it. And I hear that. That being said, so what is wrong with the feeling of someone having the personhood feeling? Like there's a type of, and I mean, I think of very, very profound teachers of, you know, being able to engage who completely see the emptiness of it all, that everything is arising just as it is, the unknowing, and yet the capacity to carry on with whatever's arising, including the stories, and being able to engage and making discriminating decisions to engage, not to nullify the experience or to mute the experience by just sort of, this is it too, you know, because that's not where that energy is happening. It's wanting to move in a different direction. So I don't know if it's almost an impossible task to talk about, because to describe what I'm trying to say. So I'm sure it's inadequate, but I definitely see, I get that everything is it, but I somehow, again, I go back to, if everything is it, then therefore we can't invalidate the person or the feeling of the person or the personal, because it's it too. It's kind of, I don't know. This is a conversation that does go in circles because of its complexity that way. I get that. So
Janet, it's very interesting. I wonder where the invalidation is coming from. I often, like when I say something is a story, I don't mean to invalidate a story. Yeah, I wonder where you see is what is being invalidated, or when that comes in.
yeah, that's a good point, and it could be just my lack of capacity to articulate the feeling tone of what I'm trying to say. I realize that I just feel really inadequate to express the feeling sense of it, and wanting to be really respectful, because I think actually I do. I've had a very insightful week, and I think I do grasp that. I just find that there's an experience of there's an experience of cutting something off in a way by just sort of cutting it down to the lowest common denominator, boom. And there, I don't always know if that's skillful, or it doesn't feel actually skillful sometimes. Now that's just my arising. That's just like, you know, so that I think that's what I mean. And it's probably just my lack of capacity to find the right words to convey what I'm feeling, the feeling tone of it. And having experience of people, yeah, who are able to play with whatever is arising, including those who still see themselves as the person, and personalize it, because that's what is arising now, and knowing to be in that and being with that, as opposed to directing it almost. Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it sorry about that, but thank you for pointing that out. And I do see where how that might be experienced that way. I don't even
Well-
understand myself at the time.
No, I think I appreciate what you share, Janet. It's great. It's great. It's exactly what I asked. You referred to it.
So the suggestion, so to say, is that there is already no one feeling like a person or not feeling like a person, but feeling like a person or not is just simply what seems to be happening. So there's already no one doing that or not doing that already. So there's nothing, there's no you able to escape feeling like a person or not. So feeling like a person is just feeling like a person, and try to escape that. Try to escape feeling or thinking this is a boring conversation. Try to escape excusing yourself for being defensive. It's already this. Getting defensive or excusing yourself for feeling defensive or whatever is just this already. There's no one behind that already. This is not about good and bad. This whatever seems to arise is this already. So it doesn't matter if you feel that there's something more, or if there's something to get, or if there's wholeness or not. It's just an innocent report what seems to be playing over there. And it doesn't matter, and it can swiftly change.
I mean, it may matter. I don't like the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, of course, you know.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, okay.
Of course, you know, that this matter or that it doesn't matter is this too. You know, thinking this is very useful, or that it matters how it's felt there is already inescapable. So saying, well, what I think or what I feel matters is already inescapable, because there's already no you doing that.
Well, even that, there's no you doing that. That's a story. Whether I believe that or that's a story.
Yeah, of course.
That is a story that can't. I mean, that's just such a story, and it's like Alan says, or it's like it always goes back to, well, there's nobody here anyway. I mean, you can't. There's no room in that. There's no room in that. There's nothing here. It can't be said because it's all this. So there's got to be something here.
Well, that's just simply, you know,
Where-
thinking. That's just simply how it plays out.
Well,
as
even
long as long as there's need to speak, there is something that is there appearing.
Yeah.
Unless there is complete silence or need for complete silence, we're still in the story. That's the problem. Yeah, and I understand that it is an illusion or story, but it seems very real until it's not.
Yeah, but
I understand. I cannot do anything about that too. I understand that too. That's the problem. That's my tragedy. that's my suffering.
Hi, Nkosi, welcome.
Hi, Michael. Hello, everyone.
Kosi.
well, you know, waiting for it to not feel real is just waiting for it not to feel real. And this may come, not, you know, it feeling that this is real or not, or that it may change, or that silence is more real than sound. It's just simply this. And I know it sounds crazy, you know, because it's everything, you know, feeling that silence is more substantial or it's the highest.
No, no, I'm not talking about silence as an object. I'm talking about silence as nothing, no sound. No sound as silence, rather than silence being a meaning by itself. Silence as this, where there is no need for words or thoughts or images or stories. That's silence.
But
If there's anything to say or any need for listening, there's still a story.
so what's the problem with needs?
It
Who
has
is
to be.
having a problem with needs?
There's still a something that's seeking its own absence.
Yes, and what's the
And
problem with that?
and unknowing is the way and it wants to know.
Yeah, but that's just another knowing.
Mm.
I mean, what's the problem with seeking?
Because it cannot be. You can never get it. That's the problem. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Tragedy of the individual. Tragedy of the personal that wants to get this.
Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get this. Try to escape wanting to get this.
And if you want to get this, you might get this. So keep on seeking, because you might find it. That would be this. So do whatever you want. Do whatever you want, because it's all this. So, it's like, do what you want. Validate what you need to validate. Love what you need to love. Believe what you need to believe. Act the way you need to act. Choose the way you need to choose. That's meaningful to you. That's really meaningful to you, because that is, or this is that. This is that. So if you're doing what you call the best for yourself on the earth plane, that is all doing that. So since we are that, it's really perfect and extremely validating. Seek and ye shall find. I'm quoting. Seek and ye shall find. Now that guy,
Beautiful.
I wouldn't tell him, well, that's all this. I'd probably go, okay. He probably said it and everybody probably went into silence or something like that. I don't know, but
it is so funny that the individual always gets it in the future and never now.
Like the individual never gets it.
Yeah, exactly. The future doesn't exist. It exists in the mind. So it's always in the future.
here's something interesting. So, NKOSI comes on about 5 minutes ago. And I'm going crazy with this conversation. I mean, I'm engaged in it, but going crazy. And I go, well, oh, I hope Nkosi talks, because I'll get clear, or it'll be good. Nkosi has not talked yet, but just by looking at him, I got it. Or it's as if Nkosi had talked for 10 minutes, and I know what that experience is here. Very interesting today. He hasn't spoken because we're not giving him a chance, or I'm not giving him a chance, but how do you say it? Nkosi, that's my question. What am I talking about? You know what I'm saying.
No words. That's what's coming up here. Just simply this. Everything is this. No matter what shape or form it may appear to be, it's already what is. It's already everything. Whether there is a question or no question, whether there seems to be misleading or no misleading, whether there is confusion or no confusion, it's just this already what is, expressing as that. So there's no wrong or right here. There's really nothing to be done. There's really nowhere to get to. There's really nothing to achieve. There's just simply what's happening. And what seems to be happening isn't happening to anyone. There may be a thought that arising in this that seems to say, oh, it's happening to me. That's also what's happening. It's just this appearing as that. There's no separation. Another one may appear to say, I wish I could get it, you know. Another one may say, I'm getting closer. I'm gonna get it today. Definitely sure. That's just this, already this what is, everything appearing as that. So, yeah, really, that's what's coming up here.
Can I ask you a question, Nkosi? Well,
Yeah, Adi, can you speak up, please?
can you hear me, Nkosi?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What is the body, Nkosi?
Sorry?
What is the body?
What is the body?
Mm-hmm.
That's just a label. That's just a label, which is also this. There is no real body. There are no real mountains. There are no real animals. There's just this appearing as that.
And
Labels are these two.
how do you say real?
Sorry?
How do you say real? Real? What is real? What is unreal?
Really, there's nothing real and unreal. That's just what seems to be happening.
So,
This is real and unreal. Yet it's wordless as it is. It's already wordless. There are no words. Yet it may appear as words. So speaking about it can happen may seem to happen, but it's already what it is without words. You know, it doesn't need words to be spoken for it to be what it is. And there's nobody who's asking a question. There's just this appearing as that. The question itself is just this appearing as a question. So there is nobody behind that question who can really find anything here. And this isn't talking to anybody. There are just questions arising and answer arising from nobody. Just this already totality appearing as that. So there isn't anyone to get anything here. There isn't anyone to be enlightened. There isn't anyone who's listening, who's waiting, who's expecting, who's feeling happy, who's feeling sad. There's just already totality appearing as that. There's no one to get anywhere. There's nowhere to get to. There's already no finder. And there's already nothing to be found. That's just what seems to be happening. There's nobody here already, and nobody came here. And there's nobody who's even listening already. There's just this appearing as that. There's no ID here. There's no Ngosi here. There's no Michael. There's just everything.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, waiting for Nkosi to arise is this already. It for me it was amazing. You know, that there's this idea, well, when Nkosi arises, then everything becomes clear. I'm like, well, yeah, that's it too. You know, for me, it doesn't change anything. It's already this. It's already just this. With Nkosi, without Nkosi, there is no Nkosi. It doesn't change anything. So for me, this whole waiting, when, yeah, well, when Nkosi arises, then all it becomes clear or whatever, is already just this.
Yeah,
So,
it is
and-
just all, it is already just this, but not, that's where I feel the little invalidation comes in. Well, it's just this. It is just this. And it is just this, and it brings great joy here. And that's the part I think that needs to be added on. And it brings great, for me, or
yes,
for them,
but
it brings great joy when I
Yes.
hear Nkosi. Go ahead.
Yes, but that's just an innocent report. What seems to be happening there then?
That's not, okay, I hear that too. That sounds invalidating to me. That's an innocent report. That's, to me, that's a story. I've heard that, the Gangaji, all those people who speak that way. It's just an innocent report. No, it's not just an innocent report. Or you could say it is this, all this reporting, that this is very, very important and very critical and very worthwhile. That's what this is saying. It's not just an innocent report.
Well, it doesn't matter. You know, saying it's not an innocent report, or it is.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So And Nkosi, you could answer this. Is when we say this, it's with this without any kind of description or adjective added to this. Any adjective, this appearing as something. No appearance. Only this. When we say this, purely this, whatever this is, I call it this or whatever. Can it be spoken of? Or when we have to point to this, it's always silence. Do you get my question?
Yeah, yeah. It can never really be spoken, yet speaking appears in it as it. So
Yeah, so I would say speaking is it already. So to talk
this is
about
already
it, if you said, can we talk about it? There is no it. There's no two. You cannot speak about it because there's not this and something where you can speak about. The speaking is this already. So can we talk about what do you want to talk? There's just talking. There's just listening. There's just sitting. So talking about it, no, you cannot talk about it because there's not something else you can talk about. The talking is it already. So this whole idea that
No, but the talking is not it. The talking is that appearing as talking. Is it not?
no, for me the talk, no. But
Like the talking that appearing as me talking, right? That's how you would say it if you were to say it, if you were to use a word.
well, I
Describe.
don't use that, but yeah, you can say however what comes out, but for me there's not something else than this. That's just simply how it plays out here. That's just speaking, and there's not something else where we can speak about. There is nothing else.
That's a story.
There's nothing hidden. There's nothing to be found. There's nothing else. There's no beyond. You know, and thinking there is a beyond. It's just this already.
All that's a story. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful story, but all that's a story. But it was sort of said like it's the truth, or that's the way I heard it over here. It
Yeah,
didn't sound like it was a story coming from there. It sounded like this is the truth. There's nothing here. There's nobody here. Like that's the truth. That's the ground of being. And I'll just say, going along with this, that's just a story. It's a beautiful story, but it's just a story.
Well, you know, calling it a story is just another story. You know, it doesn't matter. Does it change anything if it's real or if it's non-real, or if it's a story or if it's not a story? It doesn't change anything. You know, you can call it a story or a fantasy or an idea or a concept. It's still just this. Giving this a name is this already. So saying, well, that's just a story is just saying it's a story. It doesn't change anything. You know, you can say it's a philosophy. It's the same. Nothing actually happens. So naming this a story or a happening or a life or reality or a dream or a conversation, so giving this names, so to say, or labeling this, is this already.
Well, what's coming up here in the dialogue is whenever there is assertion of a position, and here it played out with Don and Sanders, and and Adi to some extent, I tense up physically, and I realize what it's really about is this attraction to or the assertion of a position, and then having one position against the other, and then there's some sense coming in that one is right and the other one is wrong, or what Don just pointed out, that some people seem to know and other people don't seem to know, and those who know need to tell those who don't know how it really is, something like that. And I physically react to it because I have all that stuff going here as well.
Yeah, but I would say that it's more, I mean, this is just my vantage point, but I think Sanders is commenting on things and Don is commenting on things, and Don is saying what's true for him, Sanders is saying what's true for him. And I think that that's great. I mean, that's how I'm perceiving it. I don't feel like someone's telling someone who's right or wrong. I just feel like people are talking about stories. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. I mean, if we talk about anything, no matter what, we could say this, everything is this. It's still a philosophy. No matter what, we can say, well, this is undefinable, or what I'm saying right now is this too. That's still a philosophy. My philosophy, like similar to Don's, is that what feels right for me and resonates with me is that there's wholeness here, and wholeness feels really good. But if I enter into the story, into me, I feel separation, to use a term Michael used to talk about a lot. And the separation for me is where I can have, suffering, if you will. So there is a huge piece to this, that what resonates for me is something that has nothing to do with, it's my philosophy, but it may or may not have to do with everything is this. It could, I mean, from your point of view, it could, but from my point of view, it's already, there is a wholeness and there is a separation, and I want to be in wholeness. And if everything is this, that can help me. That can actually be a great tool, which is why I like that concept. Everything is this. It reminds me of the Tao. Everything is the Tao, right? Everything is indefinable. But at the end of the day, as Adi said very early on, if your experience is something's in the background that's very helpful and beneficial and makes you feel good, that's wonderful. That's absolutely perfect. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I feel like it's great to share. It's wonderful. It doesn't have to, I mean, Peter, I know what you're saying. It doesn't have to be a position versus a position. It could just be everybody speaking their truth. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, yes, beautiful. What to say? Exactly. I love it. You know, and as you said, you're feeling that if there's something in the background, try to escape feeling that there's something in the background when there's this feeling appearing. When there is this sense that there's something in the background, try to escape that. It's just inescapable. And feeling that it's helpful or useful is inescapable. And it may change. Feeling whole or feeling separate may just simply change. And there's already know you doing that. You can say that's a story, or that's an idea, or that's everybody saying that. Well, yeah. You can resonate with it or not. But there's already know you resonating or not. Liking this or not liking this. It's just simply what seems to be happening. And trying to like it, maybe, or trying to get it, maybe, will appear to happen. Or try to see it from another perspective. There's no way out. There's no one in this already. As a separate you doing the feeling, or doing the thinking, or doing the concepts, or doing the naming, or doing the inquiry. There's just acquiring, talking, feeling, sensations, words, speaking. And there may be a sense, well, I'm doing this. Well, that's it too. Feeling that there's a me doing this.
Mhm.
And this may simply drop, this sense of, well, I'm doing this, or I'm speaking, or I believe I speak, or I think I speak. Is this already? And there's one or the other. It's not wrong. It's not better. You know, it's not about better. There's no wrong or right here to begin with. There's just this, sitting and having a conversation. And there may be a sense, well, this is happening to me. I'm speaking and I'm listening. Well, that's it. Try to escape feeling like a me.
No. Actually, in the traditional non-dual schools, they talk of three levels. If and all these are words. Words only make sense in a certain context. And if I am using a word, I am liable to define what it means when somebody asks me a question. So when I say three levels of reality, I just whatever level means nothing to me, but three different kinds of reality. One which is completely subjective, which is what I in my head think and feel and everything. And there is an objective reality where I interact with other people. Uh, and then the third is what you define as, where there is just one. There is nobody, nothing separate from that one. Everything is that one. The underlying ground of reality, which is not personal for anybody. And to remain in that, to abide in that, is only silence. The moment I say, or there is a saying, or seeing, or hearing, the moment there is a cognition, it's it's not that purely. It's in a different level of reality. It's then we have to use words that mean something. We cannot say something that has no meaning. And if we have to say something that has no meaning, it's always silence.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. What passion tonight. Love it. Love it. Thanks to
Okay,
each of,
can I say something yet? I
yeah,
know
please
it's
go ahead,
not-
Alice.
But you know, you said there's nothing wrong with anger and nothing wrong with this or that, but I think what I'm about to say feels like it's something wrong, so I'm going to say it anyway. But I inevitably feel almost in every single group that we have like this, when Don talks, I feel the tenseness. I feel that he's really tense, and it's really, and it feels like I get tense, and I'm not sure. It's got to be going on with me because I'm feeling it within me, and I feel it again tonight. And it's just happening, and that's what happens when Don talks. I feel tense. Maybe that's an attack. I don't know. Maybe I feel. Uh, anyway, that's what I feel. That's what's true for me.
Well, what a joy. Beautiful. That's it. Feeling tense and thinking it's about you is this already.
Or thinking it's about someone else, but it's really about me. Do I have something wrong here? Is it my spiritual upbringing that always says it can't be about you, it has to be me?
Well, there's nothing wrong to begin with. Feeling tensed or not tensed is just simply arising and thinking or believing that it's because of something. So making assumptions or conclusions that it's because of something is just this already. And there's no you doing the tension.
I get it. Thank you, Sander.
Yeah, well, I want to throw out one more thing. Sorry, Alice, that you get tense when I talk, but a lot of people do. but it's what's happening. But I'm also throwing in the mix. I'm going to say, and this is for you and me specifically, just from my point of view, that it's karmic, and karma is for everyone, not just you and me. Okay, karma is karma. That I'm going to say, or this is saying it, you're reacting to me. There's some karma that you and I have together from this life, last life, whenever, something to work out, something to balance, to heal, whatever you want to call it, to come back to the totality. And in that way, it's very beautiful that you're having the reaction and I'm having the reaction when you tell me you get tense, you know, and we can say that's all this and sort of end it there like, oh, okay, but I'm saying there could be something really deep in this for you and for me, or at least for me. Okay, I want to talk for you. That is karmic, that this is, you could say it's all this, but it's also, how do you say it? It's very significant. It's not just that it's all this. It's extremely significant. And that it's an opportunity. And there's nothing wrong. Because it's an opportunity given by totality. This is a gift. This is a gift. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, that's just what's arising there, Don.
Yes, you can say that. Yes, but once again, I hear that that's just arising here is an invalidation of the possibility that what I'm speaking is the totality and the truth, and you're speaking a different one.
Yeah,
I hear that all the time. I mean, I'm going at it now nuts, but it's always like, it's not meant that way by anybody. I don't mean it that way at all, but it always seems invalidating.
Yeah.
You always say totality, but then there seems to be a lot of things that are not included in that totality.
Well, all is this. That's all I can tell you.
What?
Any last words? Sam?
Okay, yeah. I just gotta say I know the time is going on here. You got to get off. We got to get off the call, but the all is this.
Yeah.
Is nice. And
well,
I tend to agree with
it. I
but
apologize if it's insufficient, and you're welcome to look elsewhere for your
no, that's not
needs.
see, that's not the answer either.
No,
that's
but
not,
I'm just
see,
saying
all this is
this is of the
that same thing. You're not here. You're not. No, I don't. It's amazing. Just amazing. Yeah. It's no way. You know, they say there's no escape. There's no escape from this philosophy. That's what I think we're saying. There's no escape from this philosophy. You can't escape it because you won't. There is no room for it. There's no room for escape because we said there's no room for escape. Okay, I'll end. Sorry, Alice, if you're getting more tense. I mean, I really do. I really mean that.
Can I say something?
Because I'm doing it.
Yeah, we're way over. I'm sorry, guys. We need to. This can go on for quite a long time. It's endless. It's endless. The stories, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. But just to bring it back, it's, you know, if you come here, you're going to hear it's just this. So it's just funny to me that people come here and then they kind of go, well, you know, that's fine because it's already this what you're saying. Exactly how you're feeling it is beautiful. It's just how it's appearing, but nobody's doing it. And no one's doing the reaction.
Hey, Michael, I know you need to go. I just wanted to apologize to Sanders for raising my voice earlier. I just had a reaction, so my apologies, brother.
Well, thank you very much. It was lovely to talk to you all. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks, Sander. Thank you, everyone. What a spirited meeting. Love you all.
It's a symphony. It was a symphony.
Yeah, a raucous
It was a symphony.
Beautiful, Janet. Good night, everybody.
Bye all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Enjoy.